Hey guys, this is Dan from the Sons of Light and the Christian Life Network. Today we're talking about signs in the heavens and dealing with this almost mass hysteria of an eclipse coming. Eclipses have happened throughout history, 5,000 years of recorded eclipses and different events in the stars and the heavens in the Bible. And typically they are signs for things, but we all know if you escape the mainstream media hype, the emotional feeling behind it, the occult driving the hysteria perhaps, we find that it's a sign of something, if at all. But as we look, this eclipse and the panic it's creating with some people, it is mostly a media-created event. It is not the end of the world. Some of us remember the year 2000, Y2K, for some of us who are old enough. Oh, it was the end of the world. I mean, it was way more panic in this. People didn't freak out like this over signs in the heaven or an eclipse. We've had an eclipse in 2017. People got hyped up about it. But for some reason, this one, they've been able to tag a lot of different things around it. Oh, CERN is firing up. And that's a concern because I think CERN has caused a lot of problems. CERN is not about finding the God particle. CERN is about opening up, conspiracy theory, a portal. Because I've listened to the scientists, both scientists talking about quantum computers, to a group of scientists and computer nerds that they're letting entities in and communicating with these entities, but they're so smart, they don't care about us. They weren't talking conspiracy theory to the average Joe to create hype or science fiction. They were talking to the people that create computers and are in on that, and the nerds involved in it, that they are building these to communicate from entities or to entities on another side, talking about spiritual entities. CERN is firing itself up. I can guarantee you something to do with the occult, just like they have Shiva as the goddess of destruction, as their god out front of CERN. That is why it's firing up, because they have certain plans to create events if they can. So conspiracy theory it all you want. They believe it. These super egghead geniuses, they believe in this stuff. So you can try to call somebody a dum-dum, but the smartest people, you can't build a quantum computer. You can't work at CERN. And these people believe in it. Why? Because they're super smart and the occult exists and the Bible was telling the truth. So don't dum-dum people. Don't you dum-dum. All right? The smartest people believe in the occult. We're talking about this eclipse. This eclipse is as a sign, supposedly. I would let that go as any concern as being a sign of some kind of cataclysm. And what I would, because the sun traveling around one side of the earth or passing the moon or the moon passing the sun, whatever, does not create a cataclysm, as do weapons and man-made and occult events. Witchcraft does exist on a highest level. People have studied Kabbalah. They have studied Babylonian witchcraft, Enochian magic. They use signs in the heavens, which God has placed as a clock for people who had knowledge. I think that is lost now. These occultists know these signs, just as the Magi knew the sign of the star in heaven and came and visited King Jesus when he was born. There are signs and knowledge of things, mostly that has been lost to us because, of course, they don't want you to know that. So what is really going on, the hype, the concern, the craziness, is because of man's and spirits' occult activity on days like this. The craziness is not, if it is a sign of God doing something, pause for a second. What are you going to do about it? If God's deciding to do something, that's God's will. And if you're a Christian and you're in God's will, well, then that's just what God has planned. But if it's the occult, if it's these, and I'm talking about some of the smartest people, the people who get wealth from uniting themselves with fallen angels and principalities, they make plans during these events. They control the media. They control higher, like the Bible says, spiritual governors we wrestle against in high places, and entities and powers and principalities. There are also governors who are physical governors. This is something Christians forget. There are men and women working for these entities who can't do things themselves because of the laws and the high council in the heavens that constrict them and would cause angels to be dispatched and imprison them or harm them. They can get men to do things, and men can physically do stuff, and men can trick you. Witchcraft is real. But witchcraft is not like Disney, who created the idea that it was fantasy, or Harry Potter, that it was cartoon-like. These people believe in serious, high-level manipulation of times and seasons and events and numbers and symbols called glyphs and gematria and numerology. And this stuff is so complex. You're talking about needing a lifetime to study, or having entities help you, or supercomputers to figure out how to coordinate these events. There's a book called Reason to Believe. You should get it right now, because it goes in and it explains what your enemy is doing. I cannot go into enough depth here. We'd be here for a few days discussing how they do it. This book will reveal to you how it is done through proof of a particular high-level event that took place in the United States. You should get this book. You can find a link to it in the description below. So this event going on right now is mostly hype by the media. I believe the media is owned by Kabbalists, by magicians, because when you watch television, you watch a broadcast, like a casting of a spell. You watch a program, which they program your mind. They even pick the names for what they're doing to you. And Christians can hear this sometimes and say, this isn't true. I can't be fooled. I'm a Christian. Jesus said, my people perish for lack of knowledge. What? That doesn't include me. Yes, it includes you. This is why you need to know your enemy. The events going on today, whatever happens, and events to come. And it doesn't take long anymore for them to make you forget the last one they hyped and make up a new one. You absolutely need to know what's going on and how they do it to truly fight your enemy. You also need to know how to prosper and make yourself wealthy and intelligent and healthy, so that you can remain a good soldier to combat these things. So if you'd like to do this as well, we have something called the Master's Inner Circle. Not everybody gets to get into it, because some people are just too close-minded, or they can't handle the level of truth involved in it. If you would like to join the Master Circle, you can apply within the description below and fill out a form and see if you qualify. It's hundreds of hours of lessons on life and understanding of what the enemy's doing, how to overcome him in your life, things the Bible talks about, but your denomination or your church may not ever speak about it, and it could take you years and years in your life to try to figure this out. And most people, from what I've seen, it's an absolute fact, they will never learn it. They'll be 80 years old and pass away from cancer because they didn't learn this information. They'll pass away not even knowing the truth about the Bible or different deceptions. So check in the link below if you'd like to know more about this. Every Christian, every person deserves the right to know the truth and make decisions based off of knowledge.